This year hasn't been easy. Along with some really difficult and devastating moments, 2020 handed out lessons to every single one of us. In your toughest moments this year, what got you through? Let me know in the comments. According to the American Psychological Association, one of the key factors in building the resilience to face a crisis like the one we're all currently in is finding a sense of purpose. This year, I found a few things to anchor me to my purpose, and all of them involved learning. Have you ever wanted to learn a new skill but given up on it at some point because it seemed too hard or too overwhelming? How can you set yourself up for success as a lifelong learner? What does it really take to be able to learn anything? So you have the big vision of what it is you want to learn or accomplish? Excellent. But recognize that you can't get there in a single step. When I first decided that I wanted to learn to play the guitar, it was pretty obvious to my optimistic brain that I would sound like Corinne Bailey Rae live in concert. But in reality, my first effort sounded a little more like this. To be honest, it was pretty discouraging. There were a few points in the journey where I felt like it might just be beyond me. I had to recognize that when you see a master performer captivating a crowd, or even a really powerful speaker inspiring an audience, that's the finished product, and it's made up of tiny, sometimes imperceptible increments of progress. What we see in a masterful performance, a formidable presentation, or even an expertly run meeting is the amalgamation of many, sometimes non-linear steps towards the vision. Be conscious of the component parts of what it's going to take to master your skill. In teaching content to kids, one of the tools great teachers use is helping students make connections and see the relationship between concepts. This is of fundamental importance because it literally helps students learn how to understand by viewing things in terms of how they relate to other ideas, and more importantly, to their own lives and goals. For adult learners, there's an even deeper dimension to this. Your time and resources are limited. And so no matter what you tell yourself, there are some things that you just don't care that much about. And sometimes your attitude towards these things may impact your ability to learn a new skill because they may make up one of those steps we've just talked about. Dr. John DeMartini, a human behavioral specialist, has developed a tool called the Values Determination Tool. You can find the link to the model in the description. Basically, Dr. DeMartini says that your values arise in part from unconscious drivers, from places in which you perceive a lack and that you're responding to. He says that your life is evidence of your values, not the other way around. So the life you're currently living tells you what it is that matters most to you. What does that mean? Well, take a look around the room in which you spend the most time. What do you notice? What does it say about the things that you value? If I look around this room, I have quite a few French volumes on my table. I have a couple of books on happiness and the power of now. I have 2 guitars. Seems pretty accurate. These are things that are important to me, the pursuit of learning and a commitment to the arts. According to this model, you will struggle to commit to things that are actually low on your hierarchy of values. Remember, not all of them are conscious. And when that happens, you get that self-sabotage script running in the background. In this instance, making deliberate connections can take the form of you talking to yourself about how these small unpleasant tasks, the ones you don't really want to do, actually contribute significantly to your learning journey. It can help you situate them in a way that it makes sense to you and that you're more likely to succeed by taking that step and getting it done. In practical terms, I place a really low value on routine admin. I particularly hate filling out forms. I would literally rather have a tooth drilled. But what is important to me is developing the teachers that I coach. And I recognize that I need to undertake some form of admin so that I have a systematic way of achieving this, so that I can consistently add value to their journeys. And in that way, I'm able to convince myself to do the admin tasks when they arise, however unpleasant they may be. There is a common misconception that children are just better learners than adults. To oversimplify a little, that simply isn't true. The one edge that children do have over us is that they don't know what they can't do yet. One of my favorite memes shows a picture of a toddler learning to walk, and the caption reads, "Have you ever met a child who, after falling down for the 5th or 6th time, said, 'Look, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Walking isn't for me'?" In reality, failure is an intrinsic part of every learning journey. In fact, without it, it would be really difficult to demonstrate that any learning took place. We wouldn't even need to practice, because there would be no risk of getting it wrong, and we all know what practice does for learning. Embrace the inevitability of failure, and then it'll be something that gives you valuable data that feeds into your next step, rather than derailing you with frustration. If I hadn't taken so many videos of myself playing the guitar, then I'd have felt every week when I picked it up like the gods of rock and roll were rolling their eyes at my plucking. Seeing the evidence of my progress helped keep me motivated, helped give me real data that showed I was actually progressing towards my goal. There are so many different ways that you can track progress and keep yourself consistent. Share some of your favorites in the comments below. A few of the tools and methods you could use include things like checklisting the steps that you've broken down from the goals that you've set for yourself. So marking those off and seeing how you're tracking towards progress. You could also set milestones for yourself. If you're someone who is trying to learn to become a consistent runner or to get better at it, then scheduling a marathon and working towards accomplishing that. If you're a speaker, scheduling a date to give your first speech, receiving feedback and applying that. Something that's also really important, and we'll see in a subsequent step, is building a routine for yourself and then marking off compliance. Motivation. Wouldn't it be great if we always had it? But motivation is a fickle friend, my friend, often late to parties, never splits the bill, and often leaves you hanging. Much more reliable is the human predisposition to habit. We tend to do more of what we do more of. So a really great place to start in any learning journey is to just work at consistently doing the things you just need to get done until they become second nature. And what sort of things make a good routine or a good set of habits for a learner? Establishing a schedule is a great one. So you've broken down that big vision into the steps it takes to reach the goal. All right, schedule a routine around how you're going to build each of those into your day. Don't think that everything's always going to be roses and sunshine. You are going to have very real obstacles. Life happens. So plan for how you will respond to that. Budget it into the routine you create. Exposing yourself to learning opportunities is another really important one, especially if the skill you're working on is something like learning a new language or becoming a better speaker. This looks like taking the opportunity to engage with people in the language or to speak as often as you can. Leveraging your natural propensity to be a creature of habit can make success in any learning journey way more accessible. Break it down. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Have that great vision of the construction of the pyramid in mind as a motivator, but focus each day on laying the bricks you need to. Make connections. How does this task relate to your bigger goal? What does it remind you of? Or more literally, if you are learning a language or how to play an instrument. Mnemonics. Every angry dog growls before eating. Those are the notes of my strings. Making those connections can help you understand concepts better and remember the things you've learned. Can also help you get past that self-sabotage by recognizing how a task that you may not be excited about actually feeds into your bigger goal. Fail well, friends. If you just do something and there is no failure involved, then you kind of just did something, not really learned anything. Recognize that failure is part of the process. It's actually something that happens in order to help you figure out ways to get around it or to get better at something. So know that it's coming, expect it, embrace it. It's okay. Track your progress. This is not just about motivating yourself. It's also actual evidence of you moving towards your goal. It can help you know when you are going off track or when you need to course direct and spend more time in a specific area. So make sure you find the tool that works for you and use it consistently so that you know that you're actually making progress towards your goal. And lastly, cultivate good habits. Know which things are going to set you up for success. Don't rely on motivation. If you wait until you feel like doing it, you might not ever. So it's helpful to establish a routine and patterns of behavior that will support you in your journey. Next week, Maya, Ashley, and I will be talking to each other about talking to ourselves. Yay, I get to do another collaboration with Maya. If you missed the last one on parenting a woke kid, be sure to check it out now. If self-talk is something that you need help with, or if you really want to figure out how to make those internal voices your friends, then tune in next week. Don't forget to click share. If you liked this video, click like so that I know that this is the kind of content that you want to keep seeing, and make sure that you subscribe. Oh, click the bell, then you won't miss any new videos. See you soon.